Hey, welcome to Film Fanatics. My name is Dan.
My name is Justin.
And I'm Joe.
This week, 3 new movies of very different genres. We've got an action thriller, a stand-up concert performance, and a third world sports drama. But first, we dive in with The Accountant. That is the action thriller I mentioned, and Justin's going to talk about that.
Tell me about The Accounting.
Oh, yes. Ben Affleck plays Christian Wolf, a savant accountant with a certain set of skills, shall we say, while using said skills to uncook the books of many a dangerous soul. When his latest client, played by John Lithgow, targets Wolf and his colleague, Dana, played by Anna Kendrick, Wolf sets out to learn why and uncover an even deeper conspiracy in the process. J.K. Simmons, John Bernthal, and Jeffrey Tambor co-star. Now, where to begin with this one? 2016 has been an incredibly underwhelming year for a variety of different reasons, but one of the worst, and I do mean it when I say worst offenders, is disability representation this year has been a complete and utter nightmare.
What do you mean, Justin? Please tell me.
From Don't Breathe's portraying the disabled as a psychopath, to mindless drones, to now literally bringing back Super Crip, where disability equals superpowers. I don't understand why we're repeating ourselves, and it doesn't help the problem.
I knew this was going to come up.
So,
Well, of course, but
Which is fine, yeah. Go on.
But enough about that. Let's get to the actual
I want to hear more about
movie
it
itself.
Maybe.
So this came from a script that was liked, albeit just about every commentary I read online about it has pretty much unanimously said the same thing I feel about the movie. It's doing a lot of different things, shoving 8,000 characters in front of you and hoping you can keep up. The result is a movie that wants to be a character study, an action thriller, and a political conspiracy all rolled up into one weirdly tonal, inconsistent cocktail and hoping you can take it hook, line, and sinker. And it might have worked if Ben Affleck had even the sheer modicum of talent that was necessary to play this role.
Ooh.
Instead, it feels like someone shoved Rain Man in his face and he just took notes and decided to go to the set. I can't say it's his worst performance, but it's
Second worst.
it's incredibly lifeless to say the least and bordering on offensive at times. I'm shocked there are no autism communities protesting this movie at this point. However, the actors themselves, outside of Affleck, do a fairly good job. I think Lithgow, even though he's incredibly underused, is a surprisingly entertaining villain. Kendrick is game, even though Affleck isn't. And when it wants to work, there's kind of some guilty pleasure quality in the action sequences. I think they're fairly well composed. It's just with a well over 2-hour runtime, it's incredibly bloated and probably could trim an easy 40 minutes. I'm curious to see how you guys took this one.
Well, okay. First of all, you keep saying super crap. You use that in your 5 words for Don't Breathe as well.
Yes.
I don't know if that's an appropriate term.
Yes, it is.
Cripple
Absolutely.
is... Why?
It is a term that refers to the disabilities community. You can look it up if you want
What's
to.
a handicap would be?
Sounds like
No,
a-
it's
more
actually
appropriate.
applicable, I assure you.
Is it, right?
Yes,
Sounds like a
absolutely.
gangbanger to me. The Super Crip.
Okay. Well, then, heading off of that, though, what is so terrible about showcasing this person as being able to handle himself? We see how, as a young boy, he's in this basically fight club that his dad forces upon him, so he, learns very early on how to
abused,
fight.
basically,
Yeah, he was abused. I don't know, how is that different from Denzel Washington in The Equalizer, who has...
Terrible comparison, but...
Why? Denzel Washington can't really be beat.
They both take out everybody.
Affleck
Spoilers.
can't really be beat.
I was thinking about Equalizer and John Wick,
except
too.
for
And
moments,
John Wick, yeah.
Except he does get beaten on several times in this movie, but...
I think we can, assume that he has some victories within the movie.
Yeah.
For sure.
Oh, certainly. Not to the extent of The Equalizer, where he's downright invincible, but...
Affleck's pretty close, though, I think.
But, that to me isn't a superpower. He obviously learned how to fight. We saw that.
Kind of, sort of. And alongside that, it's more like, oh, yes, because of his brilliance, he's able to calculate all these various things at once. It's ridiculous.
Yeah,
It's
the Equalizer did do that.
Yes, but at least
can
with
slow
that,
down time
they
Sherlock
gave
Holmes
us the
style.
impression that he was a seasoned
Agent
assassin
guy.
that had gone through various things. Affleck's character is savant that just happens to be very good at punching people in the process.
Well, maybe he could exist. I mean,
Yeah,
they're-
I don't.
they're
I don't know.
smart
I don't. I
people.
don't think that's offensive. That someone can have the ability to land a punch and to shoot very far away things. Like we see that in movies all the time. So to me that wasn't nearly as bad as the movie. I mean, I didn't care about that part. I agree Affleck isn't great here. I think he's...
And here I thought you were going to play apologist.
I think he's good... Why? No, see, I'm even. If Affleck has a bad performance, I'll say it, is the difference.
Fair enough.
His action scenes I thought were good. It was the drama I thought he was struggling with. I don't know if he is still in Batman mode right now, so he's got to be action all the time, and the drama is lagging a little bit. I don't know. But aside that, I couldn't really follow all of this movie. I didn't really understand what was happening sometimes. I thought the way they found out who his character was completely preposterous.
I couldn't agree more.
But I do think other people give good performances. Anna Kendrick specifically. J.K. Simmons is good here. Some of the minor roles are good. Barenthal's Barenthal. But yeah, it's okay. I'm actually surprised by this one because usually the movies that are pretty highly audience rated but low critically rated, for example, Girl on the Train,
Yep.
I tend to side with the audience because I seem to enjoy them. Joe and I both gave Girl on the Train fairly high marks
pretty good,
compared to the 44% on Rotten or whatever. Yeah. But this one I'm definitely more with the Rotten Tomato meter on. Audiences seem to love this. I'm not on board. Definitely more average for me. Joe?
Average Affleck, basically.
Yeah. He was one of the average parts about it, I would say.
Well, I'm an audience member and I liked it.
Okay.
So,
That's not good.
Yeah,
Please
let's hear
continue,
why.
Joe.
Well, I guess I could agree that there definitely are just kind of smashing like 3 different movies into one. And do they work together cohesively? No. Individually, do I think they work though? Yeah, I did. I actually thought some of the scenes where Affleck was kind of going through his insanity was pretty intense.
I mean, to play devil's advocate,
You're playing devil's advocate.
there are moments of each where there is promise. It's horribly inconsistent.
Well, it's definitely all over the place. And I could definitely see having a hard time keeping up with things. That's true, but you just have to pay attention. Now, for me, I was engaged and oh, that's interesting. Now, but I do think there might be 1 or 2 subplots they could have cut out, like the whole reason for J.K. Simmons' connection to the accounts. I thought was interesting. I thought it was kind of an all right twist, but the fact they had to include this whole other character in the investigation,
I didn't like that.
How about
Yeah.
you just have him,
especially.
and so you'd come back to her, and it was literally a different movie, and
Yeah.
the drama stuff was okay. As far as the whole super powered autism thing, I just kind of looked at it as, hey, he had autism and he still became awesome. Despite it, I didn't think that was offensive at all. He just, or whatever. And
Yeah.
him being able to calculate stuff, I mean, he's supposed to be a genius. This is a movie. I mean, Iron Man could do it. Whatever, I guess.
Yeah.
So I guess in those sense, I liked it. I really liked the action scenes. I mean, there was a mafia subplot, so automatic bump up there. A lot of mentions of Vinny.
And this is why he liked
Always
it.
a good grade.
This is the secret of why I liked it. I thought the performances were good. I liked some of
Even
the
from
shots.
Affleck.
I mean, I think his performance was the weakest, but I can't say I thought it was bad.
Okay.
I think he was trying to do a lot. Was he ready to do it all? Fine. But could he have done worse? Oh, yes.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
This is far from the worst Affleck performance of all time. But
And he was
What's
at least
the
trying.
worst?
I mean,
Jersey Girl? I never saw
Jersey
it.
Girl is up there.
He's
But
alright.
People seem to hate it.
oh man, I'd probably have to come back to
Really?
that. Actually,
Would it be Paycheck?
it probably is Paycheck. Actually,
Reindeer Games. Reindeer
never
Games.
saw Reindeer
I
Games.
heard
Never
that
saw
was bad.
Geely, so I can't speak to either.
What?
Actually,
Well, Geely's the worst. It is. It's really bad. But yeah, I mean, I can agree. It definitely has problems, but overall, I found it pretty enjoyable.
Okay. Did you find it funny at all?
Like
Some
guilty
of the people
pleasure.
in my theater were laughing at really bizarre parts.
There were some.
And somebody I talked to today said the same thing.
There were some lines I thought were kind of funny, and I noticed some people found certain things funny. So I guess there were different varieties of humor.
I
there.
mean,
Yeah.
there were definitely moments where you could tell they were trying to lighten it up with moderate humor. Like after a big action scene, he waves.
yeah, people laughed at that. I'm like, okay,
I'm like,
that's
okay, horribly brutal, violent scene, and then hi guys.
Well, honestly, I was okay with some of that. Sometimes you have to lighten up, but like once again, there's another twist which you can see coming 20 million
Very
miles away.
early.
Yeah,
You know,
glaringly obvious.
Like
Yeah,
it was like,
very
oh,
early.
and people were like, oh wow. I'm like, no, that's pretty
no,
obvious. But
it's bad.
whatever, like fine foreshadowing, but like how it's resolved, like worst enemies, nah, it's cool. We'll just pick up and everything and just not
Sequel
it, like Equalizer as well. I'm telling you, I was thinking about it so much, but
Yes.
So yeah, like I said, not perfect, definitely all over the place at some points, but a lot of interesting parts that I found enjoyable for the most part.
Yeah, I think there were some interesting parts for sure. I just don't think they all connected that well. I think it would have been better serviced if it were directed by Affleck.
Yeah,
I mean, the guy always directs.
Yeah,
You know,
actually.
good movies. This one,
who did
I know
direct
he's.
it? Do you know?
I don't remember.
Anybody?
Who directed it?
Not offhand now.
Some guy.
Because some
Yeah.
of the direction, like some of the scenes between him and Kendrick, I'm like, maybe that he could have used some more coaching there with what he should have done with her. Because I liked their
Yeah.
scenes.
I just don't think he understood the character, even remotely.
I don't know. He tried to pull it off a couple different ways, but I think his acting was consistent throughout it, for the most part.
Well, like I said, I think he did better in the action sequences than the drama sequences.
Well-
So I don't know if I could say it's consistent.
Yeah.
He's not really, much variation between the action scenes and the drama scenes, though. In all fairness,
Well, maybe because the action scenes were so actiony, maybe it was less about the acting and more about the
stunts and stuff.
explosions and the stunts and the murdering.
Which I like those parts.
So
you know.
yeah, I mean those were probably my favorite parts of the movie. I would say.
Okay.
I did like the old couple.
The old couple was good.
Yeah, old couple was good. I could have used more of them. Sequel.
Oh, sure, yeah.
I'll be honest. I did get the sense there was sequel-ish baiting.
Yeah,
you know.
Just a wee
definitely-
bit, yeah.
I definitely felt that.
Yeah, for sure.
Which I think Affleck has enough on his plate.
What do you mean? Directing every Batman movie.
Yeah,
ever?
directing every Batman. He's got this movie coming out in January. He directed
yeah,
and
no.
stars in.
Yep.
Which one I'll give like an A+ to.
So
Gangsters.
I
of
mean, I
course.
probably will. I typically do. All right, well let's get to the grades. Justin, what's your grade for The Accountant?
Not digging autistic taxi driver. C-.
Ooh.
Joe?
I'd say B- for me.
Okay, C plus.
Okay.
Okay, a lot closer than I actually thought. I thought you would be higher, Joe.
You guys talked me down a little bit. Like maybe
Yeah,
it's
can
not that
appreciate
good.
that.
It's not great.
It's not
People
great,
love it,
but
though.
I can't say
Yeah,
I did.
yeah.
I had a
Better or
good time
worse.
watching it. I wasn't bored until almost the end when there's like a conversation between him and Barathon. I'm like, let's wrap it up.
Yeah, seriously, let's call it.
Yeah.
Guys.
Let's wrap it up.
Yeah, all right. Well, Joe, let's talk about Kevin Hart. What now?
Well, this one is really complicated
We had you see it.
Oh dear, please.
because
Do
if you
continue.
didn't, I would have seen one movie this week.
True.
To be honest.
Well, then you would have led Queen of Katwe, and I figured you would probably enjoy Kevin Hart more.
I don't know. Katwe, maybe. But anyway, this one is basically part of the most recent Kevin Hart stand-up tour. There's kind of a brief James Bond secret agent plot that kind of leads in, and then the rest is just basically stand-up. And it's a Kevin Hart stand-up with his general types of jokes you might expect. I enjoyed it. I like Kevin Hart. I mean, I it's kind of one of those things where, like, yes, not every joke works, and I think he doesn't have as much variation as some comics do, but I think it's his charisma that I like. I just think he's a fun, likable guy, his relatable humor. I mean, maybe it went on a little bit long, but it's pretty much the standard length for most of them. It's pretty decent. I enjoyed it. That's all I really have to say
Okay.
about it. You know?
Well, I feel like we should probably go to Justin second.
Okay.
Your
You
typical
sure about
Hart,
that?
typical Hart hater.
Big fan.
And, notoriously, Justin and I butted heads on the last Kevin Hart
Which I didn't
stand-up
see.
show.
Surprisingly, yeah.
Legendary.
So here we go with this one. So if anyone remembers from earlier this season, I mentioned Hollywood really needs to get it into their heads that Kevin Hart is not Eddie Murphy. I stand on that sentiment.
But who's your go-to Eddie Murphy? I gotta know.
Yeah, because you don't really like Chris Rock that much either.
I mean,
His time is kind of
yeah, I was going to say, I think his era is gone.
Well, okay, but he was sort of the quote-unquote Eddie Murphy of 10 years ago.
I would have said,
I guess
like,
Tracy Morgan to an extent.
oh my god.
What?
You
I
go-
mean, you're asking like current, present, more contemporary society. I don't know.
Okay.
He asked for a quick example. That was just the
Alright.
off the cuff answer.
and you don't even like him either, right?
No, I'm fine with Tracy Morgan.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
No. I do stand on that sentiment, but here's what I like about this is that I think it really does showcase that Hart is growing and evolving as a performer. Note that I'm not saying actor. There's a big difference there. So, I think Kevin Hart's stand-up is pretty much broken down into two major aspects. One I absolutely loathe. The other I'm actually kind of okay with. The first is this need to bring up hyperbolic observations that he sees in his everyday life that he thinks are hilarious, and granted he does get laughs, I think they're ridiculous and go on way, way, way too long. And that's arguably the first half of his performance. So I spent, needless to say, the first 20, 30 minutes of his actual stand-up routine rolling my eyes. Then comes the second half, which is about Kevin Hart more or less being Kevin Hart. Family situations, funny instances in that regards,
Probably his best
hanging
stuff.
with his friends. I thought that stuff was actually really good. There was some smart callbacks. There was some really good repetition, and the material was really coming together. Now, as for the prologue, which seems to be a staple with his stand-up films, I get it. You have a budget, might as well play with it. In this instance, I think it works far better than Let Me Explain, which just was a really bad sketch stretched to an extra 20 minutes. The problem with this one was Hart himself wasn't really that funny, but just about everyone else around him and the visual gags with him were actually pretty funny. Like the subtitles thing I thought was great. But
It's partially him.
it's a little bit him, but
I mean, he wrote it. So, for what that's worth.
That's pretty him, then.
Yeah.
yeah.
Maybe he didn't get the best line,
You could say
but...
it's pretty hard.
Yeah. Okay, well, let me ask you something before I kind of get to my thoughts.
Sure.
What to you is the difference then? Because you said, the first half he's taking stories from his life that aren't funny, and then the second half is good because he's doing family stuff and stuff with his friends.
No, I said his first half is based on like these ridiculous observations where he's like trying to like make these worldly observations that just don't work, or trying to play up these
style,
ridiculous
kind of.
lies. Yeah.
I mean, I think they're all sort of
Similar.
based I mean, I don't know. Like for example, the first big story is about the raccoon and his relation with the girlfriend in terms of the raccoon. I mean, that's
Yes, but they're
from
but
his own
again
life.
based on a hyperbolic lie. So
I guess, but I mean, if it's a lie that he actually told in his real life, that seems to be the same thing. I don't know. I think most of his stories are sort of constructed the same way. That's all. I didn't really see the separation between part 1 and part 2, I guess, as much as you did. I didn't think the sketch was that great. I thought Don Cheadle was funny.
Don Cheadle part was
Don
great.
Cheadle was
No, it
good.
was good.
But
Sad
I
Iron
thought it went on way too long. I mean...
it definitely did.
I get it. It's not only the budget, Justin, but I think it is a reason to, hey, if you saw my stand-up tour, here's something a little, 15 minutes of extra stuff that we filmed that you didn't see on the stand-up tour, so come to the
Right.
movie anyway. I think it's got, part of that as well.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I mean, they could have left it at the poker game. Once they got in the Equalizer stuff, to bring up Equalizer again, in the backroom dealings, it's like, come on, just get on stage already. I want to hear the jokes.
A little bit.
Yeah.
So I really didn't like that. And to be quite honest, I didn't think the routine was as good as Let Me Explain. With that, I think he ends with the worst bit in the whole movie. The Starbucks thing was, to me, not a Kevin Hart bit. To me, the Starbucks thing is like, first of all, I mean, that's 10 years ago. Like, jokes about the frilly drinks at Starbucks, that's like Dane Cook era, kind of stuff. So,
Oh, man.
dated, and just not funny. I mean, to me, the two funniest bits were smack dab in the middle, and that involved the ping pong with his friends, and then the Conjuring with his
That was
parents.
great. I'll give you that one.
I also think the recurring gags aren't as funny in this one as in previous ones. The whole really thing, I didn't really get a laugh out of. I know, but but you said he had good callbacks. What to you were the good callbacks? Because I didn't like that one.
I'm trying to remember offhand a few.
I mean, the raccoon he went back to a few
I
times.
think that was the main one that sort of
Okay.
I enjoyed.
Okay. In the other movies, he did these smaller clubs. Not as many people got to see him. This routine he did for a year all over the country.
Right.
So if you saw his stand-up, I mean, in this movie alone, he plays to 53,000 people. So, if you saw the stand-up, I'm not sure what exactly is in it for you. Maybe you really liked it and you want to see it again. I don't know. But I did laugh a lot. There's a lot of really good jokes and premises when they hit. Mm-hmm. I just think, on the whole, it wasn't as funny as the last one, and I think he ended with the worst bit. But I do think he's a good storyteller. I mean, I don't know Eddie Murphy, but... I know Eddie Murphy. I'm saying I don't know if he's the new Eddie Murphy. I would say Dave Chappelle is probably the closest we've gotten to the new Eddie Murphy in the last 20 years.
I wanted to say that, but...
but he's been defunct for... What would you say, like 15 years?
He kind of had that comeback,
yeah, he
sorta,
did, but I mean...
And then it didn't really go anywhere.
He doesn't really care anymore, so...
But yeah, and that's fine. He still tours every so often.
At his high point, then I would have said yeah.
Oh, yeah. No. Yeah. Like, 2006, 2004...
Yeah.
But the reason I think that Murphy, Rock, Chappelle, and Hart can be said within the same context is that Kevin Hart's a very good storyteller comic. He doesn't do set up punchline. Mm-hmm. He tells stories. Richard Pryor did the same thing. I think he is good at constructing stories. I don't know that they always pay off, like we're saying, but I have to give him credit for that. Is this movie as funny as Delirious? No stand-up movie is in the history of stand-up. So, I mean, that's honestly, it's like,
gold standard everything else.
Right, like, it's like comparing every single, romance to Casablanca. No, it's not Casablanca.
Right.
Shocker. Yeah. But does that mean, Bridget Jones's Baby wasn't good? No, we liked it.
Of course, yeah.
So I think comparing everything to Eddie Murphy, Delirious, or even Raw for that matter, I think is unfair. It's unfair, yeah, I would say. All right, well, Justin, what is your grade for What Now?
C.
Joe?
B.
Okay. Yeah, it's a B- for me.
Okay.
Yep. Okay, so finally we have Queen of Katwe, and Justin and I are going to talk about this. It's a biographical sports drama film from Disney about a young girl named Fiona, played by newcomer Medina Nawanga. She strives to become a chess champion to help her family get out of destitution, aided by her coach, played by David Oyelowo, who teaches dozens of kids from the poverty-stricken village of Katwe. Lupita Nyong'o stars as well as Fiona's mother. The Disney sports beats are all here. You always expect it. But here I think the situation and the acting really does lift this one above pretty much all of the ones I can think of that we've covered since the show's inception. I love $1 Million Arm. We all know that. McFarlane.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. You threw a football. McFarlane is track.
I forget.
He threw
you had one job.
They're both Costner. I got that part right.
Well, no. One was Costner.
Day.
One was
Draft Day was football.
Day.
Yeah, I got it.
Same movie.
No. Well, I'll be honest. It's probably, if memory serves, the same grade as McFarlane.
Okay.
However, I think, like I said, the acting, I think, lifts this one up. The situation is a little different. McFarlane was inner city. Costner moves to the inner city, Dangerous Minds style. Things snowball. Someday, Justin, you'll see it. But the thing that holds us back a little bit is that it is very long. I think, you could probably... I looked at my watch. I don't have a watch. I looked at my phone.
Your digital watch.
And there was still like an hour and 10 minutes left. And I'm like, wow. I thought we were ramping up maybe to the last half hour.
Yeah.
But Nawanga is great as Fiona, and I think her supporting adult players are on point. Some of the other kid actors were not very good, to be fair. And the other thing for me is with these kind of movies, specifically with the chess, I don't know how to play chess. So I have to base what I'm feeling about the movie on the directing of the reactions of the players. I don't play sports, but I know the basics of football, baseball, track, basketball, hockey, skiing. I knew if Eddie the Eagle landed the thing, okay, he did it right. With chess, they move a piece. I don't know what's happening unless they show me. And I think they did a really good job in this movie of showing me, okay, this person's winning right now, this person's losing, or whatever. And I think Justin will have a problem with this one, but I loved at the end when they showed all the real people next to the the counterparts, because this is a recent story. It only happened maybe 4 or 5
I'm
years ago.
very curious as to why you think that's a negative for me.
Because every time there's a real, Deepwater Horizon, every time there's a pre-credits sequence where they show the real people, you don't like it.
It's
In the case of Deepwater Horizon, I wasn't okay with just running a random clip show because you can.
There's Deepwater Horizon, American Sniper. I mean, there's been a few of them.
Okay, American Sniper was not even mentioned in the actual review. That was a whole different story. But
Point is,
Go
you've
on.
brought it up that it's an issue. I thought it was fine, but we'll see, I guess. What did you think?
No, this was actually, I think, the first sports biopic Disney's done in a while where I didn't think, oh, wow, you're doing Whitey comes to underprivileged city and helps underprivileged youth achieve greatness. This was actually like a...
Well, there were no white people except for the principal.
Alongside that as well.
I mean,
Yes.
so it's kind of hard to...
No. She battled the Canadian.
I guess that's true. There was one white chess player.
One Canadian.
You're right. In the world, when they did
Curse
the
you, evil
world,
Canadian.
when they did the world championship.
One
That's
Eltzman
true.
villain right there. By Canada.
True.
But no, this was a really, really well done sports biopic. I love the performances. They really tackled some big issues in an approachable way. It was, some of it's a little dark, but it's dark in a way that I think it doesn't undermine the tone.
Well, it's dark in a Disney way.
Disney dark.
Yes.
I think, well, Joe didn't see it, but I think Joe would agree that the McFarlane darkness is much more. I know Justin thought it was tame. I thought,
The suicide,
there's a
possibility.
suicide plotline, whatever.
Yeah.
But, here they're in a third world country. There's definitely darkness.
Oh yeah, and I think they know they have a better sense of time and place for it. It's well written, fairly, and well acted. I think the pace. I agree with you. It's a little bloated at times.
Yeah.
The middle section
They needed
does
to
go.
trim.
Yeah. The beginning's solid. The end is solid. I actually really liked the real people side by side thing.
Oh, you did like that?
I did.
Okay.
I thought that was really clever, actually. But the middle is really where it's the roughest with that. Mm-hmm. I think it's mostly because there's so much going on. Though the performances do their best to mask it up, I won't deny that. That's not to say that the film is guilty of sapping more than a few spots, but
Comparatively, though.
comparatively, it's certainly better than the likes of $1 Million Arm and McFarlane in that camp. But
I'm running it for Costner month. No,
Season
draft
19.
day.
But anyways.
Draft day for sure.
But no, I was very pleased with this one.
Okay. So why do you like it that they had the real people at the end?
I thought that was a nice twist in comparison to, like, okay, here's photo of actor, here's photo of real person. Acknowledging, as you mentioned, okay, it happened a few years ago, so hey, why not bring out the real person and have a nice sort of like tribute to them.
I guess that's true. I mean, I feel like in this it might have been easier because they're filming there and all the people still live there pretty much.
Yeah, no, I
I
follow
mean,
you.
I don't know. I don't have a problem whenever they do any of that. I did like that they had the person with the character and they usually did a little dance or whatever and they explain what they did after the movie. But I think it's also fine in other movies when they do that. So that's why I was wondering what the difference was.
I mean, I'm okay with, like, okay, here's what the real person looked like. I don't think you should turn into a 15-minute exposition thing like
All right,
Lone
well.
Survivor, but
15 minutes is a little, of an
goes on for a bit.
exaggeration. What's your grade for Katwe?
B+.
Okay, yeah, it's B+ for me as well. All right, well, that will do it for the show this week. Next week, we have a special horror-themed episode. We're going to tackle Ouija 2, Boo Medea Halloween, the Rob Zombie movie 31, and Justin and I are also going to talk about Joe's very own horror film.
Indeed.
So definitely going to be an interesting show next week. So yeah, that's going to do it for this week. And by the way, if you're interested in seeing Joe's horror movie, it is up on the Merlin channel, as well as many other things. There's even a director's commentary video up on
And
the
cast
channel as well.
commentary and a blooper reel. And there's also going to be another thing coming up, too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Very good. Many things to check out there with the movie.
Yes.
And you can subscribe here to our channel and hit us up on Facebook as well, Film Fanatics with an exclamation point, and the Twitter feed at Film Fanatics Pod. Thanks so much for listening, and we'll see you back here next time.